I am going to be playing a different role from my usual one, but it gives me great pleasure to read some of my own poetry to you, several of them, and I'm going to start with two short poems. I always feel a very deep sadness when I see a beautiful big tree cut down. And this poem, which is called The Felling of a Maple Tree, is the pain which the tree feels when this happens. I watched the men approach with axe and saw, and knew at once what they were needed for. I felt the pressure of their rugged boots, shudders of anguish shot down to my roots. From sapling had I grown to mighty tree, 100 years or more in majesty. The wind moans softly through my fresh green leaves. Man cannot understand how much she grieves, Mother Earth, when suffering the dissolution of forest giants, a brutal execution. He swung his axe, skill, mortal blood. Sweet juices, my life blood began to flow. Again and again he struck, the knife sunk deep. Even the skies above began to weep. An awful screeching crunch. I lost my power. My time had come. I knew it was my own. The next little poem is called The Contradiction. A contradiction is a challenging word. This is a striking example of it, which causes me to sink into a kind of meditation on an actuality. There is but one I know of who can claim to be the perfect contradiction which makes sense to me. Swiftly, with perception, the logic of the law he focalized with light of truth, revealing core. He had no room for clever talk, scorning hypocrisy. Mostly, the unimportant ones sought his company. Thousands listened to his word. They hailed him as a king. They followed him until he said, relinquish everything. Alas, they could not understand, to their tremendous loss. An angry mob laid hands on him and nailed him to a cross. This little poem is a personification of the changing seasons. It never fails to leave me breathless and full of wonder. A fable of seasons. As summer gathered up her faded flowers and left in haste, abandoning bowers, the dusty paths and borders gasped for rain to breathe vitality in plants again. The autumn stirred and in her breezy way summoned the mists and painted a display of golden, bronze and red on bush and tree, a melody of tints, a joy to see. Then she began her dance of glittering grace, dazzling in the woodlands, keeping a pace with every fragile leaf in slow descent, playing a while with each in sweet content. She zigzagged through the trees and gathered gleams of sunshine to highlight her color schemes. Suspended in the air with sheer delight, she shimmered in the glory of her flight. But autumn knew her time was low. The cool air whispered she would have to go. She drooped because her season was so brief. She shed her tears on every dying leaf. Her powers waned, and she appeared to fade away as delicately she moved and swayed, until she glided gently from the scene, a ghostly figure, the Golden Queen. In the cold, still air, the naked trees shivered in expectation of a chilly breeze. Their great dark branches draped across the sky like fine black lace to hide a widow's sigh. Suddenly she drifted in, wondrous sight, winter, wraith-like, clad in pearly white. She opened icy arms and snowflakes fell, covering meadow, valley, hill, and dell. Swiftly she spread a cloak of powdered snow. The east wind came with force to puff and blow, forming enormous shapes and covering all the country, towns and cities with the fall. The goddess of the ice spun round in glee. She hung her icicles on every tree. Winter glided on the frozen lakes. She seemed the classic doll of wedding cakes. Sun awoke. His eyes were full of sleep. She dazzled him. He took another peep. Bewitched, he sent his sunbeams down to play. But Winter shuddered, tried to run away. The beams pursued her, laughing with the sun. They caught her in their rays, full of fun. She melted in their warm embrace and knew a moment of surrender. I love you, she murmured, as she sank into the snow, glinting in the sunshine with golden glow. As winter disappeared, the throbbing earth returned to life and movement and rebirth. Gone were the ice, the frost, the chilly scene, as spring emerged, clad in her tender green. Come out, she whispered with a thrilling sigh. My lovely flowers, hasten, be not shy. Soon there was magic in the air, as fragrant blossoms sprouted everywhere. Sweet spring, she danced and chanted songs of love, while birds were mating in the trees above. Mountains, forests, rivers, sea and sky celebrated spring as she passed by. Christmas cards. What do they care? These people of a time long past, fading from my conscious mind. Probably my name has faded too. Yet, when I go down that list and look for someone to eliminate, I fall into a reverie of memory. My heart rebounds with sentimental fondness. Each name becomes a face which smiles and beckons me. I know that I will always send these cards until the names become heaven good. And even then, I'll linger wistfully before I sadly cross them off my long years. Considerations of nursery rhymes. The crotchety woman who lived in a shoe knew all about childcare. Of course, she'd go to jail today, and the kids would get welfare. Skinny Jack Sprat would eat no fat. How sensible was he? Alas, his wife, so overweight, expired in agony. Mary had a little lamb. It grew into a sheep. Perhaps it wandered far away to comfort poor Bo Peep. As for that Miss Muffet, well, I really can't abide her for being so unethical towards a harmless spider. About the naughty blackbird who dared remove the nose of the maiden in the garden hanging out the clothes, he got his just dessert, I think, when baked into the pie. Although it seems he sang again. I really can't think why. Finally, the silly pair, famous Jack and Jill, who couldn't hold a bucket when going down a hill. There must be something missing here. It sounds a trifle thin. Maybe it wasn't water, but a pail full of good gin. These baby rhymes, as we all know, are sprinkled with disaster. But rest assured that all concerned